Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. I'm so glad that you've joined us this morning. As yesterday we had a scheduled day off, we're back with a lot to cover, and we're going to hear from the Mark Twain Barbershop Chorus a little bit later on, telling you how you can book a Valentine song, a singing Valentine's delivered by the Mark Twain Chorus. You'll hear all about it coming up. It's only $45, and you get 2 songs, a Valentine's flower, and a card for your sweetheart. We're going to tell you more about that in the next hour, and we may just have a song for you to get you worked up and ready to go for Valentine's Day. All right, we've got a lot to get to. Comment from Jack. He writes, newest bumper sticker, pass the SAVE Act. Thank you very much for that. All right, did you see, by the way, in Watertown, New York, they recorded a temperature of minus 36 degrees at the airport on Sunday. The lowest on record there in Watertown since Valentine's Day of 2016. That's when they hit minus 37. The reading came just weeks after the airport hit minus 34 degrees last month and is significantly below the normal low of 9 degrees for this time of year. Syracuse also felt the deep freeze on Sunday with temperatures dropping to minus 9. But in Watertown, a whopping minus 36 degrees. I guess we can't complain, as we all have been complaining about the cold, because in Watertown, minus 36 degrees. All right, let's get right to it. What did you think, because we weren't in yesterday, what did you think of Bad Bunny's performance during the Super Bowl? I have a feeling many of you watched the Turning Point USA halftime show like I did. But on The View, Anna Navarro said Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime performance was a micro joy, saying, I think maybe the reason that Trump doesn't like Bad Bunny is because Bad Bunny, unlike him, isn't a Nepo trust fund baby. Just 10 years ago, this is amazing to me, just 10 years ago, Bad Bunny was bagging groceries at a supermarket in San Juan and uploading his music to YouTube. 10 years later, here he is at the biggest stage in the world. There were so many people texting me yesterday on my timeline who told me they were weeping. And I can't overstate what it means to the Latino community that has seen itself persecuted, attacked, racially profiled. We have seen for the last year our children dragged through the streets. We have seen our pregnant women, our elderly, dragged through the streets, disappeared and detained. To have Bad Bunny use the platform to say, do not otherize us. We are all part of America, and we're all equal, and we all belong, and love is stronger than hate. You know, micro joys help us deal with macro sadness. I've had macro sadness for over a year under Trump, seeing what he has done to my community and what he continues to do to my community. I'm so grateful to Bad Bunny for having given me that micro joy. The Washington Post was mocked for calling Bad Bunny's performance wholesome, interesting word to use, and that it brought family values. Now, not only was Bad Bunny's Spanish-only performance filled with explicit sexual lyrics, singer Ricky Martin even performed an anti-American protest song in his cameo segment. But that's wholesome, according to the Washington Post, in an op-ed. After explaining that some of the references in the show were barbs aimed at the United States, including one, I guess, kind of, I didn't really understand, anti-ICE reference. The paper concludes, but in general, the show had the kind of wholesome, traditional family values that would have fit right in with some of the more sentimental commercials that appeared during the game. There was a proposal, a real wedding, and a party. The sets were Technicolor, with the camera occasionally swooping above dancers. Enhancing the cinematic effort was a formidable cast taking on the roles of barbers, boxers, nail technicians, pushcar operators, and old-timers playing dominoes. It felt as if Sesame Street had worked up a reggae remix of People in Your Neighborhood, or Richard Scarry's Busy Town had made it room for dancers ready to get busy. Referring to the dancers, the paper said this remained a PG-rated affair with about as much dirtiness to the dancing as there was in the 1987 movie Dirty Dancing. Okay. But if haters were hungry for provocation, Bad Bunny didn't give them much to sink their teeth into. All right, family friendly. Your thoughts on that? Now, Kid Rock, who performed at the Turning Point USA halftime show, the alternative halftime show, he topped Bad Bunny on the iTunes charts after the halftime face-off. Kid Rock has zoomed to the #1 spot on iTunes with his rendition of Till You Can't, knocking Bad Bunny out of the top spot despite the Puerto Rican rapper's appearance at the halftime show. As February 9 dawned, Kid Rock's version of Till You Can't began rising in the iTunes chart, closely followed by the original version of the song released by country singer Cody Johnson. By the afternoon, the two songs had pushed Bad Bunny's song to third place. So Till You Can't, #1 on the iTunes charts. Kid Rock sang his rendition at the Turning Point USA All-American Halftime Show. Another performer from the TP USA show has also been climbing the iTunes charts. By the afternoon, country singer Gabby Barrett's The Good Ones had soared to #4, pushing another Bad Bunny song to 5th place. Not only that, but the time the story was published here, Barrett's I Hope had taken the 6th spot on the iTunes chart. So your thoughts on that? Now, during the halftime show, Kid Rock encouraged millions watching to read the Bible and dedicate their lives to Jesus Christ. He chose to cover Cody Johnson's #1 smash hit, Till You Can't, during that extravaganza. In the song, it says there's a book sitting in your house somewhere that could use some dusting off. There's a man who died for all our sins hanging from the cross. You can give your life to Jesus and he'll give you a second chance till you can't. The Turning Point USA halftime show was a smash hit, drawing tens of millions of viewers over the several outlets that carried the show. On YouTube alone, it massed more than 6 million viewers at its high point and even still had 4 million views when the game had come back on. The TP USA show is being called a shot across the bow of the NFL in particular and left-wingism in general, as millions of Americans showed exactly what they think of the NFL's choice in entertainment. Andrew Colvett from Turning Point USA said, I can tell you that's a shot across the bow. People are paying attention. And you know, if you give us a year to plan this thing, I'm really excited to see what we can pull off. Now, they took and rightfully so, Turning Point USA took a victory lap. As I mentioned, YouTube had nearly 19 million views shortly before 8 a.m. on Monday, about 12 hours after the online broadcast began. TV ratings analyst Nielsen told Newsweek viewership figures for the official halftime show will be announced Tuesday. By comparison, over 130 million tuned in for Kendrick Lamar's 2025 performance. At the beginning of the broadcast, Jack Posbick said, welcome to the Turning Point USA All-American Halftime Show. And this one's for you, Charlie. And then Brantley Gilbert did an electric guitar version of the Star Spangled Banner, followed by a patriotic version of Real American, and then Jason Aldean's Dirt Road Anthem. So again, the numbers, very impressive. You probably undoubtedly watched it. You had Kid Rock, you had Brantley Gilbert, or was it no, not Brantley Gilbert. What was his name? Gabby Barrett, and then you had, yeah, I was right. Brantley Gilbert, I'm sorry. So a huge success. Now, Chris Nessie writes at the New York Post that Bad Bunny was slammed for his controversial Super Bowl halftime show. Bad Bunny previously taunted that anyone annoyed with his selection as halftime performer had 4 months to learn Spanish. Expanding to the Latino audience is one thing. Doing his show exclusively For the Latino audience, they're going to hear about this one, said Sopranos and E Street Band legend Steven Van Zandt. I'm sorry, no subtitles was a bad decision and an insult to the audience. Subtitles would have been countering division, having none encourages it. He continued, and I would say there's an argument to be had there. Again, I did not watch it. I've seen clips of it after, but not having subtitles was a bad decision. President Trump also weighed in on it, saying the Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible, one of the worst ever. It makes no sense and an affront to the greatness of America. It doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, and excellence. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all over the world. The president had publicly said he wouldn't be watching this year's big game after Bad Bunny was announced as the halftime show. Much of the performance took place in a makeshift sugarcane field set up on the gridiron, where straw-hatted actors portrayed migrants appearing hard at work harvesting the crop. Bad Bunny meandered through the maze of sugarcane, passing food cart vendors, old-timers playing dominoes, nail salon employees, and a cluster of scantily clad women standing beside a pile of cinder blocks, presumably a fanciful nod to construction workers. The routine's theme centered around professions with an outsized migrant footprint, a carefully curated bit of messaging by the famously anti-ICE pop star. Trump continued, saying this show is just a slap in the face to our country, which is setting new standards and records every single day, including the best stock market and 401ks in history. There is nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show, and watch. It will get great reviews from the fake news media because they haven't got a clue of what is going on in the real world. And by the way, the NFL should immediately replace its ridiculous new kickoff rule, make America great again. I know Trump has railed against that kickoff rule quite a bit in the past. I'm not going to read what some of the lyrics meant because it is a little bit more maybe vulgar than you may have even realized. Andrew Colvett from Turning Point USA said, worse than I realized. In response to the controversial performance, Turning Point simultaneously broadcast its All-American halftime show. The alternative show, which had viewed by more than 6 million people on YouTube, as I mentioned, had Kid Rock, Bradley Gilbert, Lee Brice, and Gabby Garrett. So there you are. There was some people that weighed in on this. John Root wrote, the NFL having a halftime or a Super Bowl halftime show where their performer sings entirely in Spanish and waves other nations' flags is 100% a political statement. Bad Bunny will go down as the worst halftime show in the history of the league. America deserved better for its 250th birthday. Megan Kelly wrote, I like my halftime shows in English from people who love America. Influencer Camden Lee wrote, call me crazy, but the Super Bowl halftime show, the most American moment on TV, should be in English. Now, this continues. I know I'm going a little long on this. Jorge Bonillo wrote at Fox News why Bad Bunny's polarizing Super Bowl halftime show felt like a slap in the face to Americans. Far from uniting the world in a really creative and fun way, Bad Bunny delivered a highly divisive show that put identity politics front and center. The final product fell far short of Roger Goodell's hype, leaving a sour taste in the mouths of millions of viewers. One shudders to think what the league might have in mind for next year if they insist on forsaking their core audience in pursuit of global expansion. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I see some comments, some waves coming in. Thanks for joining us this morning. Tomorrow on the program, make sure you get your questions in. Hornell Mayor John Buckley will be joining us, and I'll happen to be at the same time on his radio program on Saturday and Sunday. That's Saturday and Sunday at 1 o'clock on WLEA. So I'll be on the Pulse, and he's going to be on Frankly Speaking on tomorrow's broadcast. So please get your questions in ahead of time. And then Thursday, we're going to hear about the great backyard, tomorrow's Wednesday. Yes, Thursday, the great backyard bird count. So John Buckley tomorrow, Thursday, the great backyard bird count. We've got a busy week in store for you. So keep those comments, keep those waves coming in. One more thing about Bad Bunny, then we've got a lot of breaking news to get to. A lot of New York State updates. Bruce Blakeman having a little bit of difficulty finding a lieutenant governor candidate to run with him. He did ultimately find one. We're going to tell you a little bit about Bruce Blakeman and where we're at with his campaign. Of course, if you're not familiar, Bruce Blakeman is running for governor of New York against Governor Hochul. We'll tell you a little bit about him. We've got quite a few updates when it comes to New York and local issues. So stay with us. We're just getting warmed up, and I'm running late, so we'll be right back.
You don't have time to go to the gym? The health club is not an option? Come to Hesselson today and see why swim spas and fitness systems can fit into anyone's yard and budget. 12-foot, 14-foot, 15-foot, 18-foot dual temperature hot tub and swim spas are all on display in Hesselson's indoor and outdoor showroom. Try before you buy. 0% interest-free financing options are available on every Hesselson swim spa. Swim and exercise year-round and start making every day better. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
It's tax time, and Current Power Sports is here to help your refund go further. For the month of February, we're covering the sales tax on any new CF Moto machine purchase, plus select accessories. That means big savings on machines built to work hard, ride far, and handle anything you can throw at them. Why pay more than you have to? Let us cover the tax. Stop by Current Power Sports in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania, or Pine City, New York, and save big on your next CF Moto. Limitations apply. See store for details.
I was back at Hardaway High School, college first-round draft pick. During the football season, I would stop eating. But I didn't know I was depressed. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father and as a husband. We have to redefine what being a strong man is and heal, love your mind.
Good morning, everyone. We do have a bit of an active pattern here as we have warm air advection and a clipper system all coming together to result in some opportunities of some wintry weather, perhaps with a combination of snow and rain at times. We are seeing that mixture happening, and then we'll get hit with the colder side of the system, which will give rise to some snow chances and gusty winds as well. So we're on the wilder side for now. However, as we go forward, we know
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Comments from viewers. I watched the alternative halftime show. The other one was extremely untraditionally foreign to me. Turning Point saved the day. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. That rendition of the Star Spangled Banner was creatively excellent. Kid Rock was disappointing. Okay, thank you very much. Keep your comments coming in. Now, Carolyn Markowitz. We sometimes have her pieces at the New York Post, but this is from Fox News. Said, after the chaotic early 2020s when the NFL led the way by leaning into woke nonsense like kneeling for the national anthem or introducing Lift Every Voice as a separate anthem for Black Americans, there's been a lack of trust between the average football fan and the Super Bowl halftime production. The sense is, what are they going to try this time? The NFL responded with an all-Spanish halftime show and effectively challenged Americans to have a problem with it. What are viewers going to do? Not watch? But they didn't. Many didn't. Turning Point's All-American halftime show was announced a few months ago to contrast what many expected would be a politicized halftime show by Bad Bunny, an artist whose songs are exclusively in Spanish and who has made political statements in the past, including Ice Out at the Grammy Awards and Blank Trump during the Black Lives Matter protests. The New York Times puts the numbers of concurrent views of the alternative show at 6.1 million, while Turning Point says its total viewership was around 9 million. The show aired on streaming platforms like YouTube and Rumble. That number may be a fraction of the official halftime show, but the Super Bowl halftime show is one of the most expensive productions in entertainment, often running more than $10 million, and the artists who are not paid perform for the exposure. To lose anywhere from 6 million to 9 million viewers is not a win for the official show. The Turning Point was able to compete at all with stars like Gabby Barrett and Kid Rock is a testament to how much Americans are craving a normal show. One with performers who don't hate them, don't attack law enforcement, and don't despise the president they just reelected. I thought that was a very good point. There was some irony in the show. such as when Ricky Martin joined Bad Bunny on stage for a song that translates to what happened to Hawaii. What happened to Hawaii is that an influx of people moved in unchecked and the local population was displaced, with some forced to leave their homes. The lyrics could easily be applied to concerns many Americans have about unchecked, massive illegal immigration during the Joe Biden presidency. Before the show, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell called Bad Bunny one of the great artists in the world, saying the performer understood the platform he was on, and that platform is used to unite people and bring them together through creativity and talent. He did not. His only spoken phrase in English, still the primary language of most Americans, was "God bless America," followed by a list of countries in Central and South America. The point, of course, was that America, the United States of America, is not something special and not something worth celebrating. That's the problem with choosing someone like Bad Bunny for the Super Bowl halftime show. His music is fine on a beach, a few beers in, playing in the background. But the halftime show is supposed to be something else. As Goodell said, it's supposed to unite. We're in a new moment as Americans, a vibe shift following the re-election of Donald Trump, where we know we have something worth preserving and celebrating. Bad Bunny doesn't get that, and it showed. So there you are. Your thoughts about the halftime show at the Super Bowl, either one that you watched. Maybe you flipped back and forth. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Okay, a couple breaking stories when we come back. I just realized I'm running late. We do have quite a few New York updates that you're going to want to stay tuned for. Some updates on the gubernatorial run. Also, a couple things here from Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. As I mentioned, in the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to learn more about the Singing Valentines delivered by the Mark Twain Chorus. We may just happen to get a song from them as well. If you want to learn more or book a Singing Valentine where you get 2 songs, lovely Valentine's flowers, a card for your sweetheart, it's only $45, and we will have the number up during the song where you can contact them and book them today before they are all booked up. They are singing the Valentines on the 13th and 14th. So you have 2 opportunities, and they'll go anywhere. Your home, to a workplace. I even was told at a restaurant. So you'll learn more about that in the 7 o'clock hour. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
To the me I used to be, before talking to 988.
I felt alone.
I thought seeing hard things was just part of the job. I thought that having a bad day at work meant I was failing. But then I connected with someone at 988.
A real person texted back. Someone listened without judgment.
Now I know.
Now I know it's okay to let someone help me too.
And I'm stronger than I thought.
We hear you. Call, text, or chat 988.
Can you help me?
Mom, Dad, we're going out.
Thank you.
Oh, look, they're playing chess.
What you got there?
Will you help my mom?
She's real sick, huh? Hey, crew, I'll give the first move to anyone who signs up to be an organ donor. How do you do it?
Easy. Just go to organdonor.gov.
You heard them, organdonor.gov.
More donors means more hope. Sign up at organdonor.gov.
Good morning, everyone. We do have a bit of an active pattern here as we have warm air advection and a clipper system all coming together to result in some opportunities of some wintry weather, perhaps with a combination of snow and rain at times. We are seeing that mixture happening, and then we'll get hit with the colder side of the system, which will give rise to some snow chances and gusty winds as well. So we're on the wilder side for now. However, as we go forward, we notice the cool.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. A couple comments from viewers. I think the halftime performance wasn't targeted to unite, but more an attempt to divide. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. I personally don't think any of the Super Bowl commercials were worth even a few $100s, let alone up to $10 million. Goodell is a donkey who must have been drunk when he signed and praised Baby Bunny. Say it, Bunny Baby, not Bad Bunny. I'm sick and tired of you putting words in my mouth. Not sure where that's coming from. So okay, whatever. Sorry to not read Baby Bunny? Bunny Baby? I don't know when I did that. Okay, U.S. military strikes alleged drug bow in the Eastern Pacific, leaving 2 dead and 1 survivor. On February 9th, at the direction of Southcom Commander General Francis Donovan, Joint Task Force Southern Spear conducted a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel operated by designated terrorist organizations. Following the strike, the unit said it immediately notified the U.S. Coast Guard to activate a search and rescue for the lone survivor who escaped the lethal attack. Aerial footage released by the agency shows a vessel halting shortly after getting struck by the weapon. Intelligence confirms the vessel was going through the known narco traffic routes in the Eastern Pacific and was engaged in narco traffic operations. Monday's strike marks the 3rd U.S. attack this year since the campaign began last September. The U.S. has carried out dozens of strikes in the Eastern Pacific and Caribbean to dismantle narco-terrorist networks operated by designated terrorist organizations, including the TDA and others. Also, we are learning that at least 112 USAF C-17 aircrafts are headed to the Middle East, some comparing it to Desert Storm levels. An eye-opening and massive number of C-17 Globemaster military transport and cargo planes have been observed heading to Europe and the Middle East in what some monitors have forewarned looks like the build-up to a major war in Iran. One regional watcher and pundit commented in response, 112 C-17s are in or on their way to the Middle East. Guys, that's a lot, like Desert Storm a lot. Stay tuned. This as on Friday, the prominent open source account Armchair Admiral and others used public flight tracking data to tally that the huge armada of U.S. Air Force C-17s and counting are en route, a trend since mid-January. Royal Air Force logistics flights said a total of 112 U.S. Air Force C-17s have now either entered or en route to the Middle East, with a further 17 to 18 in progress flights. C-17s are massive and can deliver huge amounts of equipment or a large number of troops in a single go. The U.S. military lists some of the following key capabilities: payload capacity of over 170,000 pounds, ability to operate on short runways as small as 3,500 feet, intercontinental range with in-flight refueling, extending reach even further. Iran and the U.S. just concluded an initial round of indirect talks mediated by Oman that did not necessarily go well. Iran's foreign minister has newly questioned whether Washington is taking these talks seriously or if they're merely a pretext for more time to allow for a U.S. force buildup in the region. Now, we know the U.S. ordered vessels to avoid the Strait of Hormuz after Iran threatened the massacre that we mentioned on Friday. The U.S. government is continually assessing the maritime security situation in the region to identify and differentiate threats and safeguard freedoms of navigation, ensure the free flow of commerce, and protect U.S. vessels, personnel, and interests. The department said vessels, personnel should be prepared to provide the vessel's name and flag state if they are stopped by Iranian forces. Crew members are encouraged to invoke the Law of the Sea Convention, which provides a legal framework for all maritime activities. It comes after Iran threatened a massacre of Americans in the Strait of Hormuz after seizing 2 ships. Last week, tensions in the Persian Gulf escalated after the U.S. shot down an Iranian drone that was headed for the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln and a ship flying the American flag outran an effort by armed Iranian gunboats to halt it. The U.S. and Iran can still negotiate a compromise over Tehran's nuclear program, ballistic missile program, and assistance for regional proxies Hamas and Hezbollah despite the Gulf flare-ups, according to the Express. However, it wasn't assured because Iranian officials threatened to end the discussions, and some U.S. officials claim that Trump thought about abandoning the talks due to Iran's hostile behavior. Given that the U.S. is accumulating air power, battleships, and missile defense in the Middle East, it was unclear why Iran chose to take a more assertive stance. The events may indicate the hardline elements with Iran's leadership are not supportive of the negotiation. When they are under attack, all political sides in the regime work together. When there is a mediation, they sabotage each other. There was a chance Trump may become impatient and declare a strike. If Iran doesn't accept an agreement to give up its nuclear program, the president has threatened to attack. The event of Tuesday started while the Lincoln was 500 miles from the southeast or southern coast of Iran. So there you go. There's some international updates. Continuing on the international updates, Trump says he will block the U.S.-Canada bridge unless Canada negotiates on trade. He threatened to prevent the opening of a bridge that will connect Michigan and Canada unless Ottawa negotiates with Washington on tariffs and the exclusion of American products. In a lengthy post on Truth Social, Trump accused Canada of taking advantage of the United States with unfair trade practices and cozying up to China. In an effort to bring Canada to the negotiating table, Trump said he would not allow the opening of the Gordie Howe International Bridge, which is named after the legendary Canadian ice hockey player who played for the Detroit Red Wings. The bridge, which is currently under construction, will connect Detroit and Windsor, Ontario. I will not allow the bridge to open until the United States is fully compensated for everything we have given them, and also, importantly, Canada treats the U.S. with the fairness and respect that we deserve. We will start negotiations immediately with all that we have given them. We should own perhaps at least one half of this asset. He cited the removal of U.S. alcohol products from Canada liquor store shelves in Ontario. Trump has previously accused Canada of taking advantage of U.S. trade policies. In his post, Trump said Canada has moved forward with building the bridge with virtually no U.S. content. He blamed former President Barack Obama for, quote, stupidity, giving Canada a waiver so they could get around the Buy American Act, which mandates federal agencies purchase materials that are manufactured in the U.S. and made mostly from U.S.-produced components. Trump accused Canada of not using American products, including steel, saying, quote, now the Canadian government expects me, as President of the United States, to permit them to just take advantage of America? What does the United States of America get? Absolutely nothing. Ontario won't even put U.S. spirits, beverages, and other alcohol products on their shelves. They're absolutely prohibited from doing so. And now, on top of everything else, Prime Minister Carney wants to make a deal with China, which will eat Canada alive. We just get the leftovers. I don't think so. The first thing China will do is terminate all ice hockey being played in Canada and permanently eliminate the Stanley Cup. He said, oh man, we got a lot of international stories this morning. Now, Trump is being urged to impose zero tolerance and total pressure on Cuba. As we learned late yesterday, the Canadian Airlines have suspended Cuba flights as the island is set to run out of jet fuel. Cuba, which warned it was running out of jet fuel as the U.S. tightens its grip on the communist government. Canada, the country's biggest carrier, said in a statement that aviation fuel is not projected to be commercially available at airports as of Tuesday, as government issues notices warning that the supply is likely to be unreliable. Smaller rivals, WestJet and Air Transit, also canceled flights due to anticipated fuel shortages. The shortfall is set to last from February the 10th through March the 11th, according to a notice to pilots published late on Sunday. It comes just 2 days after Cuban officials said air travel would not initially be impacted by a fuel rationing plan announced on Friday. And as I said, Victor Nava says Cuban-American lawmakers are urging the Trump administration to impose maximum pressure on the island's totalitarian regime, arguing the communist government is weaker than it has ever been. Quote, it's a failed nation, and they're not getting any more from Venezuela, and they're not getting any money from anywhere. President Trump, who reportedly is eyeing regime change in Cuba before the end of the year, told reporters on February 2nd, days after he threatened tariffs on countries that sell or provide oil to the island. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel acknowledged Thursday during a rare news conference that the regime wouldn't be able to guarantee electricity or even basic activities amid the fuel shortages. While Diaz-Canel expressed openness to talking with the Trump administration, he said discussions over Cuba's sovereignty would not be on the table and that the nation was preparing a defensive plan in response to pressure from Washington. We aren't in a state of war, but we are preparing ourselves in case we have to move to a state of war. Meanwhile, Trump has indicated that negotiations are already taking place with top Cuban officials, saying last week that I think we're pretty close to an agreement. Alejandro Castro Espin, the son of former Cuban President Raul Castro, reportedly is among the top officials who have engaged in these dealings, which could provide the regime with an off-ramp to remain in power. However, Trump has said the deal he's looking to strike would allow Cuba to be free again after 67 years of repressive rule. U.S. Representative Carlos Gimenez, who was forced to flee Cuba as a young child shortly after Fidel Castro's takeover in 1959, told the Post that I do believe regime change in Havana will happen soon. I've been here 65 years. I don't think I've ever seen the regime as weak as it is right now. I think what the administration should be doing is what they are doing, putting pressure on supposed friends of ours that are helping to maintain the regime. Representative Mario Diaz-Balart, whose father fled the communist takeover, said what needs to happen is to increase the pressure. And what I mean by that is pressure in every way, economic, diplomatic, in every way possible. It's the only thing that's ever worked in the history of our planet when you have a dictatorship like this that doesn't want to give up power. Zero tolerance and total pressure. So there you are. There's a couple updates. We got to take a short break. I see a lot of comments, a lot of waves coming in. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and Horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
It's the tea party for Crystal with Miss Marshmallow.
Oh, wow.
And Sarah's first day of management training at Goodwill. When you donate to Goodwill, you help provide skills training and career placement. And the things you love start a new life too.
Yeah, hello. I'm really not sure if this is what you all do, but I really don't have anywhere else to turn.
Hi. I don't even know why I'm calling right now. I'm sorry. My thoughts are going a mile a minute.
My kids are out of state. My buddies from the army are all gone now. I'm really alone.
I left the service last year. My mom just passed away a few months ago. I miss so much time with her. I keep getting calls about the bills, and I'm trying to get a job, but I feel so stuck.
Okay, ma'am. I'm glad you called.
Okay, sir. Let's stay on the line and walk through some things.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
It's tax time, and Current Power Sports is here to help your refund go further. For the month of February, we're covering the sales tax on any new CF Moto machine purchase, plus select accessories. That means big savings on machines built to work hard, ride far, and handle anything you could throw at them. Why pay more than you have to? Let us cover the tax. Stop by Current Power Sports in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania, or Pine City, New York, and save big on your next CF Moto. Limitations apply. See store for details.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here in Market Street Corning. Some comments from viewers. I didn't smoke when Kennedy banned Cuban cigars, but I would like to try one just to see if they're as good as they say. No comment. Comment from Mark. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Mark. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I don't like either team, and I didn't see Bad Bunny. The only bunnies I watched were the ones in my yard, and they aren't bad. Well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Jack writes in saying, good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Jack. The media keeps saying the right is all Hitler and the left is all Captain America. If there is nothing wrong with the ballots, why are they so outraged to have them checked? I'm getting tired of them behaving like it's the new Salem witch trials. When are the Republican leaders going to stand up for us instead of looking the other way while a few court judges get to call all the shots? Why not use our court judges back at them to null and void theirs? When are we going to stop putting up with the left septic waste? Why do I feel like the right is getting hammered by bullies and just ignoring them? We have control over the House and Senate. Why doesn't it feel that way? Mainly because the mainstream media is trying to convince Trump supporters they're Hitler supporters. I think good reporting like that on Frankly Speaking has been far outdoing mainstream media lately because reporters like Frank have their hands on the common sense hammer. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Jack. Now, I know the media's big push is to convince you that Trump is in some way unhealthy. He's deteriorating, after not reporting on the actual physical and mental health issues of Biden. Now they are saying they're just doing their job and they are reporting on the facts because we're upset that they didn't report on Joe Biden. So now they're going to report on Trump. Yet, did you see that Trump nears 500 press interactions in his second term? Folks, we're only a little over a year. President Trump has more than doubled his press engagement numbers from the same point in his first term and blown past all recent predecessors. Trump has had at least 493 exchanges with journalists, including interviews and events, Q&As, during the first year of his second term, compared to 246 over the first 360 days of his first term. Now, I'm not going to break down each one. I don't think you need to know what they're each made up of. But who is it here? Kumar, I don't see what the, political scientist Martha Kumar, a professor at Towson University in Maryland and director of the White House Transition Project, tracked a dramatic rise in question answering by Trump in the newly gilded Oval Office and aboard Air Force One. We've heard of reporters actually not wanting that assignment on Air Force One because Trump can come out at any time, day or night, and start essentially a press conference. One of the reasons that press engagement doubled is that he came in with a much clearer agenda to discuss than he had in his first term. A benefit of having non-consecutive terms is that he could think not only about the agenda he wanted to have, but how to present it. Trump averaged more than 2 media sessions per workday as he overhauled foreign relations, trade, immigration, tax, and healthcare policies, compared to President Joe Biden's first-year rate of 1.1 media event per day, or 266 exchanges, and the current president's own first-term rate of 1 per day. President Barack Obama and George W. Bush averaged 0.9 daily press interactions in their first year, but Clinton notched 1.4 per day, while George H.W. Bush and Ronald Reagan had 0.6 and 0.5 per day, respectively. Many of Trump's second-term interviews are unscheduled chats that begin when a reporter calls his cell phone, an option no other president has provided to journalists, and a sharp contrast from Biden, who gave no newspaper interviews until his final months in office. Trump took questions on Air Force One or under its wing 73 times in his first year back in power, more than quadrupling Biden's 17 such interactions. The president also has used the Oval Office heavily for media availabilities, starting on his very first day back in power when he pardoned or released from prison all Capitol riot participants. Trump answered press questions at 95 events in the Oval Office alone. Wow, a massive increase from the 27 such events logged during both Biden's first year and the start of Trump's first term. And more than any president since at least the early 1980s, said Kumar, when they started tracking the data. The Oval Office events show the former reality TV producer presiding over a revolving cast of experts, officials, businessmen, and world leaders. When you're signing executive orders, that's action, and news organizations and the public are drawn to action, Kumar said. By signing those orders in the Oval Office, he drew a great deal of attention from his base and from others as well. Polling showed that in his first 100 days, that people had a much better idea of what it was that he was doing than was the case with Biden. Widely, and I don't need to go in through each one, but presidents of the cable news era have had starkly different methods of communicating. Obama favored sit-downs with esteemed columnists, while Clinton preferred to pontificate at press conferences. Biden, this should come as no surprise, favored extremely short, often one-word replies to reporters, Though he sought to blunt scrutiny of his age with a nearly 2-hour press conference at the end of his first year, he bungled that event by saying a minor incursion by Russia into Ukraine would be better than a full invasion. The prevalence of Trump's Oval Office events has resulted in just 13 formal press conferences, the fewest by any president not named Biden since Reagan. Under Reagan, press conferences were a national moment. They don't draw the same kind of attention now. You can do a half an hour or an hour in the Oval Office on a particular issue or series of issues and do it many times a month. The White House said the data shows the extent of Trump's availability to the public. President Trump is the most transparent and accessible president in American history. President Trump takes unrestricted questions from the legacy media and posts directly from his True Social account on the most important issues facing our nation every single day, said Liz Houston, a White House spokeswoman. The American people have never had a more direct and authentic relationship with the President of the United States than they have with President Trump. Megan Hayes, director of messaging planning in the Biden White House, countered that Trump's plentiful interactions run the risk of alienating viewers when they veer into combat, as when he chided CNN's Caitlin Collins last week for not smiling. The American people deserve a president to give honest answers and not insults, said Hayes. It doesn't matter how many times you interact with the press if it's all lies and hateful rhetoric. That's Biden's messaging director. Okay, so Trump nears 500 press interactions in his second term. Very impressive. All right. We got to take a short break. When we come back, we're covering a lot this morning. We are going to get to some New York State issues, some updates on Bruce Blakeman's campaign. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/BigFoxNews.
Then I realized the more you bundle, the more you save on insurance with Liberty Liberty.
It's like you're talking my love language.
Well, I've been taking word classes online.
Wow.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 Liberty. 7 to buy certified pre-owned vehicles at Chilson Wilcox Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
7-year or 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
3 months or 3,000 miles of maximum care coverage.
Carfax Vehicle History Report.
Car rental allowance. 24-hour roadside assistance.
125-point vehicle inspection.
3-month Sirius XM radio.
Chilson Wilcox, selling cars a different way, the right way.
Good morning, everyone. We do have a bit of an active pattern here as we have warm air advection and a clipper system all coming together to result in some opportunities of some wintry weather, perhaps with a combination of snow and rain at times. We are seeing that mixture happening, and then we'll get hit with the colder side of the system, which will give rise to some snow chances and gusty winds as well. So we're on the wilder side for now. However, as we go forward, we notice
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. A couple of comments from viewers. Oh, the judges are coming around, and that's in reference to a federal judge who blocked California's law that was going to enforce a mask ban on ICE agents. According to CNN, a federal judge in California on Monday temporarily blocked the state from enforcing its ban on most law enforcement officers from wearing masks during operations. U.S. District Judge Christina Snyder in Los Angeles granted the Trump administration's request for a preliminary injunction, finding that the ban, quote, unlawfully discriminates against federal agents because it does not equally apply to state law enforcement officers. Snyder, however, kept in place another law requiring federal officers operating in the state to display their name, either their name or their badge number. The administration had argued that the law signed in September in response to immigration raids were an unconstitutional attempt to regulate federal law enforcement officers. Attorney General Pam Bondi touted the ruling on Monday as a key court victory. We will continue fighting and winning in courts for President Trump's law and order agenda, and we will always have the backs of our great federal law enforcement officers. In a statement Monday, California Attorney General Rob Bonta stressed that the judge's ruling denied the Trump administration's attempt to block California from requiring law enforcement officers, including federal agents, to visually identify themselves by an agency and either by name or badge number. Safe communities thrive on transparency and trust, and California is committed to doing our part to uphold public safety and civil liberties. So thank you for that comment from different viewers. Morning, Frank. I'm sad to hear Sheriff Giardino turned down Blakeman's offer for lieutenant governor. Giardino would have been a great lieutenant governor, one who believes in locking criminals up rather than coddle him. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. But yeah, that was interesting because he made the announcement and then it sounds like Giardino turned down the offer. Now, again, the same thing happened with Governor Hochul, who she was turned down at least by a couple of people, it was alleged. And we know her current lieutenant governor is running against her in a primary. But yes, that is disappointing. We're going to find out more about who Blakeman ultimately decided on for lieutenant governor. Comment from a different viewer. Blakeman who? I still have not seen or heard anything from him here in upstate. I know we have not seen him in upstate. If anything breaks on that story, we will let you know if he does come to the area. We're going to talk about him in the 7 o'clock hour. And as I mentioned, we're going to have guests from the Mark Twain Chorus to tell us all about the Singing Valentines this Friday and Saturday. We've got a couple of updates on immigration that we'll get to. And then we're going to want to go to New York State issues in the next hour. But first, we got to take a break. Yeah, we're running really late this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
It's tax time, and Current Power Sports is here to help your refund go further. For the month of February, we're covering the sales tax on any new CF Moto machine purchase, plus select accessories. That means big savings on machines built to work hard, ride far, and handle anything you could throw at them. Why pay more than you have to? Let us cover the tax. Stop by Current Power Sports in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania or Pine City, New York and save big on your next CF Moto. Limitations apply. See store for details.
When a child is fighting a critical illness, one truth touches us all. Every child deserves a childhood. A wish sparks a ripple of hope that transforms communities far and wide. And when we grant wishes together, we create a movement of kindness, strength, and unity. Yay! Become a wishmaker today and be part of a journey that truly changes lives.
Good morning, everyone. We do have a bit of an active pattern here as we have warm air advection and a clipper system all coming together to result in some opportunities of some wintry weather, perhaps with a combination of snow and rain at times. We are seeing that mixture happening, and then we'll get hit with the colder side of the system, which will give rise to some snow chances and gusty winds as well. So we're on the wilder side for now. However, as we go forward, we notice the cool.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio, getting ready to wrap up hour number 1. Comment from a viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning to you. Like millions of others, I just could not continue to watch the most ridiculous slap-in-the-face Super Bowl halftime show ever. An absolutely ridiculous stain on the event. The pulp fiction, non-English speaking, unfamiliar music, vandalizing, taking a knee, Bud Light debacle level. Most insane version of a halftime show yet. Thank you very much. And we are getting your opinion on the halftime show, or many, I think, undoubtedly watched the Turning Point USA halftime show. All right, Senator Jim Banks called out radical Democrats for wanting to defund and eliminate ICE while Americans are being harmed by illegal alien criminals. Instances of illegal alien truck drivers causing catastrophic crashes have been occurring all over the U.S., including a devastating crash that claimed the lives of 4 members of the Amish community in Senator Banks' home state of Indiana last week. Quote, this illegal truck driver hit and killed all 4 of the Amish people who were in the van, and then the driver of the van was seriously injured. What we know about this case is that he came into our country illegally under Biden. He came in and was paroled through the app that the Biden administration was using, the CBP One cell phone app, and given parole, released into our country. The state of Pennsylvania, governed by Democrat Josh Shapiro, then gave him a commercial driver's license that allowed him to drive on our roads. Blasting the Democrat counterparts in Congress, Banks accused them of wanting to prevent immigration and customs enforcement officials from doing their job. I don't anticipate them coming to the table. They're radicals about this. They want to prevent ICE from doing their job. That's what they support, this radical protesters who are blocking ICE in places like Minneapolis. The Democrats truly hate what these ICE officers stand for and what they're doing, and they're the law enforcement officers. And this is akin to defunding the police. Everybody's stealing my talking point. Democrats literally wanted to fund and eliminate ICE officers, our ICE officers, who frankly, in my view, are heroes that are their law enforcement officers. They're keeping our cities and our streets safe by getting illegals off our streets, especially violent criminals out of our country. And I see that Representative Jasmine Crockett, a rising star in the Democrat Party, who actually, I think poll numbers show that she is the favorite in a primary race. She's running for Senate. But Jeffrey Burkhart said, as someone who has spent decades training professional truck drivers, I take highway safety very seriously. America's economy depends on a national freight network that moves through every state, across every major highway corridor, into every community. When safety standards for commercial drivers are weakened anywhere, the consequences ripple across the entire country, putting motorists, supply chains, and professional drivers at risk. That's why I am deeply troubled by recent remarks from Democrat Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett during a House Judiciary Committee hearing, suggesting that English language proficiency is not necessary to safely operate a commercial motor vehicle. She equated it to the same practice as someone driving a rental car in a foreign country where they might not speak the language. Her assertion is misguided, dangerous, and dismissive of the professionalism of American truck drivers. Operating an 80,000-pound commercial vehicle is not remotely comparable to driving a passenger vehicle. A commercial driver is not simply following turn-by-turn directions from point A to point B. They're navigating complex highway systems, responding to emergency situations, complying with law enforcement instructions, interpreting roadside language, understanding weather alerts, and coordinating with dispatchers, first responders, and inspectors, often under intense pressure. English language proficiency is fundamental to every one of those responsibilities. Across the U.S., commercial trucks move agricultural products from rural communities, consumer goods through major interstate corridors, and critical supplies to ports, factories, hospitals, and distribution centers. From coast to coast, our economy relies on professional drivers to keep freight moving safely and efficiently. That makes strong, consistent safety standards not a regional concern, but a national imperative. The solution is not new laws or political talking points. The solution is consistent nationwide enforcement of existing safety requirements. Regulators must fully enforce entry-level driver training rules, conduct meaningful audits, and shut down fraudulent operators wherever they exist. Every state should continue partnering with federal agencies to ensure every CDL on the road represents real training, real accountability, and real competence. When you see a truck in the next lane, you should be confident that that driver can read the signs, understand emergency instruction, and respond correctly in a crisis. That confidence begins with maintaining and enforcing standards that put safety first. We owe that to our drivers and the traveling public. We got some other updates. Stay with us. Running just a little bit late. We're going to hear about Valentine's songs coming up later. Stay with us.
Wheaton Fitzpatrick, located at 6 Gansevoort Street in Bath, is your experienced, highly qualified, and trusted certified public accounting firm. The dedicated and knowledgeable staff of Wheat Fitzpatrick can handle every type of accounting work, including personal and business income taxes. Stop into Wheaton Fitzpatrick at 6 Gansevoort Street or give them a call at 607-776-4308. The certified public accountants Charles Wheat and Kelly Fitzpatrick will work hard to make tax time easier for you. Call for an appointment at 607-776-4308.
Hi, this is Till owner Hesselsen's and Amara Heights. At Hesselsen's, we care about your well-being and overall health, whether it's relieving stress, muscle recovery, increasing circulation, or just revitalizing the body. Hesselsen's now has 2 complete line of infrared and traditional rock saunas in our new and expanded showroom. Come in today and see why owning a sauna is the start of your new healthy lifestyle. Hesselsen's is still locally and family-owned and operated in Elmira Heights. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselsen's.
Did you know we waste as much as 40% of all the food we produce globally? Did you also know that each year, millions of acres of wildlife habitat are plowed over, and billions of gallons of water is guzzled up to produce that food? And your wallet is taking a hit too. Americans toss out more than $382 billion worth of food per year. That's a lot of waste. But did you know that there are simple things you can do to help? And spread the word that food should never be trash. Visit us at wwf.earth/food.
And we welcome you to hour number 2 of Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselsen's studio here on Market Street in Corning. We've got a lot of comments coming in. I didn't get a chance to get to all of them, but first up, you need a CDL license for a truck, little bigger deal than a standard license, and that's why when Jasmine Crockett compares truck driving to renting a car, completely different, non-comparable. Ken writes in, regardless of all the accessibility, rooting out fraud, deporting criminals and illegal immigrants, bringing down costs, and making the world a safer place, when Trump's second term is up, the Democrats' headline will be, with the help of the legacy media, "We saved America from becoming a dictatorship. Vote for us." Thank you, Ken. Yes, we do see that kind of rhetoric. Who was it that actually said to save democracy or save the country, you need to vote? Right, here it is. It was on Rachel Maddow's show yesterday. Senator John Ossoff, a Democrat from Georgia, said, as I mentioned in the speech, this apparent abuse of federal law enforcement power to indulge the president's obsession with overturning the 2020 election and to lay the groundwork for whatever mischief they're planning in a few months, I think it's obviously deeply disturbing, deeply chilling, deeply menacing, and also a huge political mistake for this administration, because in Georgia, where now for the second time in 6 years, Georgia voters have the weight of the republic's future on our shoulders. We are just that much more determined to do our part to right the ship. This election is pivotal if we do not restore checks and balances in these midterm elections. We will not recognize our republic at the end of this presidential term. We may lose our republic. I think the bottom line is that we would be naive not to expect dirty tricks. This man tried to steal the presidency when he lost the first time. And that's why we are going to mount an unprecedented effort to get out the vote and to defend the voting rights. But in Georgia and in every major battleground state and key congressional district, the best insurance against dirty tricks is landslide margins of victory. So I hope everybody out there across the nation is feeling the passion that we have to feel right now to do our part at this pivotal moment in American history and power, a landslide victory in these midterm elections, and rebuke these unprecedented abuses of power. We may talk a little bit more about the midterms here in a little bit. A couple quick things before we talk about New York State issues. I found this interesting. Hours before banging the gavel to commence a hearing Tuesday to investigate the dynamic of malign foreign influence, House Committee on Ways and Means Chair Jason Smith escalated his investigation into the China-based, American-born Marxist tech tycoon Neville Roy Singman, who has allegedly been, quote, sowing chaos and spreading Chinese propaganda, possibly in coordination with a foreign government. Now, Smith is going to chair a hearing called Foreign Influence in American Nonprofits, Unmasking Threats from Beijing and Beyond. The hearing will be broadcast on the committee's website. Congressional investigations say that Singman Network sits at the center of a malign foreign influence operation they alleged exploits U.S. nonprofit laws to inject anti-American propaganda into domestic protest movements and sow discord from within the United States. In separate letters, Smith demanded the records from Breakthrough and Tricontinental, warning that both tax-exempt organizations may be operating outside their lawful purpose as possible unregistered foreign agents, while helping to fuel domestic unrest under the guise of journalism and academic research. The letter described a full spectrum of an operation with funding aligned with foreign interests flowing into tax-exempt nonprofits that produced ideological research, media narratives, and social media messaging, which are then deployed onto U.S. streets through tightly choreographed protests. Smith said tax-exempt status is a privilege, not a right. Nonprofits must remain accountable and refuse to act as instruments of hostile foreign government. So interesting. Let's keep you updated if we hear anything about that committee hearing. But we've been talking so much about these protests and how they're funded and what they're designed to do that kudos to Mr. Smith for doing the research. Okay. Oh, by the way, just because I mentioned it, Jasmine Crockett, kind of a Democrat star right now. She has emerged as the front runner in the race for the Democratic nomination for Senate in that primary. The poll was conducted by the University of Houston's Hobby School of Public Affairs. With just under a month until the March primary, the survey of likely Democrat voters shows Crockett commanding 47% support, significantly ahead of State Representative James Tallarico at 39% and Ahmed Hassan at 2%. 12% of voters remain undecided. Crockett's current lead is bolstered by her strong favorability among likely Democrat primary voters, with 84% viewing her positively and only 8% unfavorably. She's also well known among the electorate, with 92% indicating they know enough about her to form an opinion. Tallarico trails slightly in name recognition at 85%, with 79% favorable and 6% unfavorable. Crockett has positioned herself as a vocal opponent of President Trump, whom she has described as more corrupt and more criminal than any other president, as well as his administration and the Republican Party more broadly, asserting that it is MAGA, it is the specifically MAGA faction responsible for all, get that again, all political violence, which would have had to, of course, ignore history. She believes some Republican voters will support her in the general election because they value authenticity and her willingness to work across the aisle. Quote, what they want is somebody that they know who they are. So I have text messages from Republicans that have made it clear that if there is a certain person that ends up making it through, they're absolutely voting for me because they know who I am. They know that I know the issues. They know that I know how to work across the aisle when necessary, and they also know that I don't take any mess. There are crimes that are committed not because people are criminals, but because they are literally trying to survive, she said in an interview recently. There is no good point in doing it because a decent defense attorney would have a defense. While acknowledging that not all people in poverty turn to crime, she argued there's a direct link between poverty and susceptibility to have to engage in certain things. During a House debate, Crockett falsely claimed that EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin had received campaign donations from Jeffrey Epstein. In reality, the donor was a different individual. Crockett was reported to have held undisclosed stock in a number of sectors, including pharmaceuticals, fossil fuels, and cannabis. During her early political career, public records indicate that she pursued cannabis-related businesses while advocating for marijuana decriminalization legislation. Crockett said she supports full recreational and medical legalization of cannabis. Crockett argued that the Democrat Party suffers from a weak communication and promoted her large social media following as evidence that she was best equipped to fill the leadership role on the House Oversight Committee. It's like there's one clear person in the race that has the largest social media following, she told The Atlantic, highlighting the hundreds of thousands of views she received on a recent YouTube video. She later withdrew from the leadership race after finishing last in the caucus vote. But anyway, Jasmine Crockett, a rising star in the Democrat Party, leads in the Texas Democratic Senate primary. All right, when we come back, we have some local updates, local news, New York State news. So stay with us. I see a lot of comments coming in. We are going to hear from Mark Twain Chorus for their Singing Valentines, which will be delivered February 13th or 14th. I'll have the number on the bottom of the screen so you can contact them and get your Singing Valentines booked today. It's just $45. You get 2 songs, a lovely Valentine's flower, and a card for your sweetheart. Also on tomorrow's program, make sure you get your questions and comments in for Hornell Mayor John Buckley. John Buckley is going to be joining us on tomorrow's broadcast, and I'll be joining him on his radio show on WLEA. His radio show is called The Pulse. I'll be joining him this Saturday and Sunday at 1 o'clock, so don't miss out on that. Then on Thursday, we're going to hear all about the Great Backyard Bird Count. I look forward to telling you all about that. So stay with us. We're just getting warmed up in hour number 2. Where's the time going? We're having a blast. Keep those waves, keep those comments coming in, and we'll be right back after this.
Suburban Propane is here for your residential and industrial propane needs. Serving the surrounding area for over 95 years, we take pride in our reliable delivery service with 24/7, 365 emergency service answered by company representatives. Call today to start your Suburban Propane service.
Give kids time. Just 5 minutes a day. Ask them how they're feeling. And listen.
Foster's, your destination for both essential classics and new sensory journeys. Looking for something smooth and velvety? Or long and satisfying? With a savory, spicy finish? With originally recognized bourbon section? Let us be your guide. Foster's, elevate your spirits.
So New York's new extra multiplier ticket multiplies your winnings up to 200 times.
I won.
What are you gonna do with all those Benjamins?
For Ben.
Oh. Great form, Benjamin. Benjamin, tip.
Play New York Lottery's extra multiplier scratch-off games for chances to multiply your Benjamins between 10 and 200 times. Prizes up to $5 million.
I can't wait to spend each and every one of you.
Good morning, everyone. We do have a bit of an active pattern here as we have warm air advection and a clipper system all coming together to result in some opportunities of some wintry weather, perhaps with a combination of snow and rain at times. We are seeing that mixture happening, and then we'll get hit with the colder side of the system, which will give rise to some snow chances and gusty winds as well. So we're on the wilder side for now. However, as we go forward,
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Comments from viewers. Jasmine Crockett suffers from delusion of grandeur. Yes, she thinks she's going to be senator, and we know that she's very full of herself, according to that piece at The Atlantic that we've talked about in the past. Comment from Steve, who says, good morning. Well, good morning, Steve. What are those Georgians going to think when the FBI comes back with the results of how many illegal ballots were cast? Everything it is that they subpoenaed is going to go through with a fine-tooth comb. Once they see how much of it there was with no chain of handling, and also how many are missing information, also how many of them possibly will only reflect a vote for the president, they will always come up with some excuse. The list is endless of how many things you need identification for. 71% of Democrats believe that you should need to provide documentation to vote. They're going down their rabbit hole again. Thank you very much. By the way, this was announced Friday, and it's kind of with sadness, but a big congratulations to Under Sheriff McNeilis at the Steuben County Sheriff's Office. He announced that 9.5 years of service as undersheriff, he has taken a position in the private sector and will be leaving in March. So congratulations to him on this new chapter in his life, but also it's with sadness that Undersheriff McNeilis, why do I keep saying it weird, has stepped down, or is retiring, I should say. Speaking of New York Republicans, we brought to you the story that Will Barclay was no longer going to be the GOP leader in the assembly, that he is going to not run for re-election as an assemblyman or as the minority leader. Well, Republicans have chosen their new minority leader. State Assemblyman Ed Ra, R.A., of Nassau, was elected in a unanimous vote by the Assembly Republican Conference on Monday after former leader Will Barclay announced that he would step down and not seek re-election. Ed Raw of Garden City South in Nassau County has served as ranking member of the powerful Assembly Ways and Means Committee, playing a key role in the legislature's budget process. Quote, as a member of this conference for nearly 16 years, I recognize the dedication and commitment Assembly Republicans bring to the job every day. I look forward to working alongside each of them as we continue fighting for responsible government, affordability, public safety, and a better New York for everyone who lives here and visits our great state. As part of his role on the Ways and Means Committee, Ra was a fixture during the week-long, grueling state budget hearing, where he often grilled state officials. Last week, he interrogated MTA Chairman Jana Lieber about how much Governor Hochul coughed up in congestion pricing tolls last year, leaving the transit head fumbling to answer. Barclay, who has served as the GOP leader since 2020, announced last week that he would not seek re-election and would step down to ensure a smooth transition. Democrat Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie, not one to shower Republicans in compliments, spoke highly of Will Barclay. As I mentioned last week, Barclay took over as leader after then-leader Brian Kolb drove his car into a ditch drunk in the early morning hours of New Year's Day back in 2020. So now Long Island's Ed Raw has been chosen as the GOP leader of the New York Assembly. Wanted to give you that update from a story that we had for you last week. All right, Bruce Blakeman. So Republican gubernatorial candidate Bruce Blakeman tapped a Utica area sheriff to be his running mate in the race against Governor Hochul, just hours after a previous pick supposedly got cold feet. Madison County Sheriff Todd Hood accepted Blakeman's offer to run for lieutenant governor Monday, shortly after Fulton County Sheriff Richard Gardino was said to have declined an offer to jump into the race. That's what Blakeman told the New York Post. Todd is a solid guy. We'll make a good team together. So just to clarify that, if you're not caught up with this, because it got a little tricky there, he offered the job to Richard Gardino, Fulton County Sheriff. He turned it down, and so instead, he has opted for Madison County Sheriff Todd Hood. Hood previously served 22 years in the Syracuse Police Department before serving in the Onondaga County District Attorney's Office. He became the Madison County Sheriff in 2018. Giordano had said he decided to decline the offer over concerns about campaigning statewide while running his sheriff's department, saying, quote, I can't be 24/7 campaigning across the state and effectively do my job as sheriff. Rumors swirled that he'd gotten cold feet or Blakeman rescinded the offer after right-wing personality Laura Loomer revealed on X that Giordino had briefly ran in the GOP presidential primary in New Hampshire in 2024. Blakeman said Hood is not backing out. His wife signed off. We have a full validation, he joked. Hood, who is a father of three, now serves as vice president of the New York State Sheriff's Association and chairman of the National Sheriff's Association's School Safety Committee. Blakeman introduced a likely GOP ticket at a rally at the start of the party's convention festivities on Long Island yesterday, calling Hood a true New York hero. In the Syracuse PD, he served as a detective with the gang task force, SWAT supervisor, team leader, a firearms instructor, and was deputized to the U.S. Marshal New York, New Jersey Regional Fugitive Task Force. Hood, who was born in Oneida, holds a Bachelor of Science degree in sociology from Springfield College. Now, I find this kind of audacious, but Hochul's re-election campaign poked fun at Blakeman after his first choice for lieutenant governor fell through, saying it was about the length of one Super Bowl. It remains to be seen whether any of these candidates stick it out for the length of an entire workday or a long weekend. The Hochul camp suggested Blakeman's short-listed included right-wing influencer Laura Loomer, Kid Rock, and snowstorm evader Ted Cruz. What? Wow, they're stretching there, aren't they? Republican leaders, including those involved in the selection process, were caught off guard by Giordino coming out publicly to say he declined Blakeman's offer. Yeah, I don't know why you come out publicly and state that, but Blakeman is expected to easily win the party's nomination at the convention, which kicked off yesterday and will run through Wednesday. A vote set on the gubernatorial seat is expected Wednesday morning. Party bigwigs will also likely tap Joseph Hernandez as the candidate for state comptroller. The only contested race appears to be the GOP candidate who will take on Democrat Attorney General Letitia James. Former federal prosecutor Saritha Kamatreddy is vying for the seat against crypto lawyer Kuram Dara. The event featured the 2022 GOP gubernatorial candidate Lee Zeldin, who now serves in the Trump administration as EPA administrator. The story from 2022 is that we came up just short. The story in 2026 is that all of you, everything we have and everyone we know all across New York is going to elect Bruce Blakeman. All right, so Bruce Blakeman taps Sheriff Todd Hood for Madison County as his running mate after a little bit of back and forth. I guess the drama was pretty heavy. The media loves running with the drama. Now, the move comes days before Blakeman is slated to become the state's GOP official party designee, a position he can't occupy without choosing a running mate under state law. Blakeman told New York One, "We talked about what that campaign would be like and how much time he would have to devote to it. We pretty much had an understanding that he would be the guy, but of course he wanted to think about it and with all of his responsibilities that he has. We came to the decision last night that there were basically, he said he was going to take a pass on it, and I said no problem." But Republican Party sources told New York One that Giardino raised eyebrows and alarm bells. The sheriff told New York One's sister station he thinks his background check fell afoul of the vetting process. "I submitted paperwork to be on the ballot in New Hampshire for the Republican primary for president," he said. "I was not running against President Trump. It was totally a lark and an independent thing," arguing it was also part of a joke among friends of his. "My first obligation is to the people of Fulton County. I decided it's not right for me at this time." So went with Todd Hood. Republican Rensselaer County Executive Steve McLaughlin slammed the new pick, saying it's a bad look and it's an unforced error. Blakeman needs help in upstate. Madison County is pretty far out there. It's the middle of the state. I'm the right guy for the job. So Steve McLaughlin wanted it? Interesting. Blakeman is trailing Hochul, according to recent polls from Siena. Kathy Hochul is the last person who should make fun of the lieutenant governor's selection process. Thinking about this, her first choice was indicted and had to resign in disgrace, and her second choice is now running against her for governor. It's a fair point. But they're saying that somehow Laura Loomer had a role in this. Bruce Blakeman, they're saying that Laura Loomer had found out about the fact that he ran essentially against Trump. Again, Steve McLaughlin saying clearly not great optics, not something that anybody would want to happen, but is it a lasting effect? I don't think so. Anyway, so there's your update on that. We do have to take a short break because we have our guests coming up in just a little bit, and that's a Mark Twain Barbershop chorus that is going to perform for lucky individuals on Valentine's Day and the day before Valentine's Day. You can find out how you can book them for that special song, 2 songs actually. So just $45, you get 2 songs, a flower, and a card. We're going to hear how you can sign up for that, and then we'll hear a special song from the Mark Twain chorus. So the post circulated among Mr. Blakeman's team, which reached out to Sheriff Giardino to ask why he had not disclosed the presidential run. The sheriff said in an interview, "It wasn't one of those get out or else conversations. It was, you failed to disclose this. You probably should have let us know." The sheriff said Mr. Blakeman offered him the lieutenant governor position on Saturday. He responded positively, but did not formally accept. He says he began to have second thoughts about his ability to both campaign and do his job. So that's where we're at. Politico puts it this way: no bench, no money, mo problems. It's not easy being a Republican in New York. It'll be even harder this midterm election year. Across the deep blue state, the GOP is being outraised and outpolled in key races. We'll tell you a little bit about that. I'm running a little late because I want to be on time for the Mark Twain chorus. So that's coming up next. The Mark Twain chorus. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
What better way to start or end every day than relaxing in your very own Hesselson's hot tub? Massage therapy, relaxation, stress reliever, pain management, soothing muscles, or just spending time with a loved one. hot water therapy really does make every day better. Hesselson's has been a part of this great community for over 70 years, still being locally owned and operated. So make the drive to Hesselson's and start making your path to a better life today. And after 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
The Frankly Speaking Root Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We're broadcasting from the Hesselson studio, and in that studio, we're going to be talking about staff meeting quartet for the Mark Twain Chorus. Butch, thanks so much for being on the program.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
We look forward to this every year, I'm sure like you do,
Yeah.
and this is to sing Valentine's Day songs to your loved one. Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, we do it, as you said, every year.
Yeah.
We will go to your home, your office, your school, your if you're going out to a restaurant, we'll come to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Wherever you would like us. In Corning, Elmira, Horseheads, and Watkins Glen area. So it's cost of $45. You get 2 songs.
Oh, wow.
A rose from Ziegler's Florist and a card.
Wow.
So,
And everybody's getting ready. I think you guys going to do a song for us.
And we, everyone loves it.
Oh, yeah.
We love it.
I wonder how long, because I've heard about this for as long as I remember. Do you know how long this has been going on?
Oh, it's probably 30 years.
I would say at least, yeah.
We've been doing it a long time.
And that's a really good deal when you think about for $45. How do you make the rounds all day?
Well, I take the orders, and we try to organize. We have 4 quartets this year that is going to sing, and I just try to get in one area, one quartet going to one area, and one quartet going to another area.
Sure.
So just coordinate it as best as possible.
How many do you think you do in a day?
Probably 12 to 15.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, that's great. And it's just $45, and you get all those great add-on bonuses. How do people sign up?
Just call me. It's 607-207-3521, or text me.
Okay.
I'm on the road all day long, so if I don't answer the phone, please leave a message. I'll get right back to you.
When do you recommend that they sign up? As soon as possible.
Right now.
Yeah, right now. There you go. Right now,
Yes.
like an infomercial.
Get your orders in. So we can
you've been
get you
doing
down.
this for a while. What's the reactions like when you show
Oh,
up?
that's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
They just love it, especially the biggest thing is that one's in a nursing home.
Oh, of course.
The siblings or the sons or daughters do it for them.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one story we had in a nursing home. A lady did it for her mother. And she stood behind her mother. She was there, and she was crying.
Oh,
and I said, "Boy, are we that bad?" But anyway, then she talked to us. She says her mother was singing along with us, and she said afterwards her mother has not spoken a word in 7 years. So that's just
Think
what
about that.
music does for this.
Wow. Do you find it tough sometimes in a scenario like that to keep your composure?
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Sometimes like that, yes.
And so from beginning to end, how long? You said it's $45. You get the rows. How long does it take if someone wants to book? Like you're there for 2 songs.
Oh,
so probably
it takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe at the most.
Okay,
so
great. And that number again, 607-207-3521, and we're going to hear a song, right?
Yes.
All right. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, stay tuned. As promised, we are back, and we're going to hear a singing Valentine's. Remember, they're delivered by the Mark Twain Chorus February 13th or 14th. We'll have all the information on the bottom of the screen. Guys, take it away.
Let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with you. Let me hear you whisper that you love me too. Keep the love light glowing in your eyes so true. Let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with you. Let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you.
That was amazing. Here, I want to put the whole staff behind us is clapping. All 3 of us here in the building. That is the makeup of the staff meeting quartet from the Mark Twain Chorus. Again, sign up today, 607-207-3521. Well, thanks again, guys, for being on the program. Have a lot of fun. I know you're going to have a busy day, so I can't wait to hear all about it, and I hope we can talk next year as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
Everyone knows William Mattar. Everyone knows James Cook. But what you probably don't know is that they bonded when Bill suggested to let James cook.
Delicious.
And James said they should just share the number 4.
Nice.
Now they're teaming up to raise money for Build Promise.
Get this t-shirt at buildpromise.com.
For a limited time, if you purchase this t-shirt, a portion of the proceeds go to Build Promise.
Small businesses are the heart of America. Like you, these entrepreneurs started out with a dream and the drive to build a better life. If you have a small business idea to grow or challenge to face, you don't have to go it alone. Since 1964, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses. Today, they are the nation's largest nonprofit source of expert mentoring, resources, and education. Whether you're starting out, building back, or have worked at it for years, SCORE will match you with specialized mentors. Our thousands of volunteers provide the guidance and connections you need for free. Your success is waiting. SCORE is ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Good morning, everyone. We do have a bit of an active pattern here as we have warm air advection and a clipper system all coming together to result in some opportunities of some wintry weather, perhaps with a combination of snow and rain at times. We are seeing that mixture happening, and then we'll get hit with the colder side of the system, which will give rise to some snow chances and gusty winds as well. So we're on the wilder side for now. However, as we go forward, we notice the
Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Thank you again to Staff Meeting Quartet from the Mark Twain Chorus for joining us. If you would like to find out more, text me or call, and I will get you all the information. I know we had it up on the screen, but I'll get you all the information you need to know. So we appreciate them being on the program and singing us that great tune, getting everyone prepared for Valentine's Day. So we're talking about this piece by Politico entitled "No Bench, No Money, Mo Problems." It's not easy being a Republican in New York. It'll be even harder this midterm election year. Across the deep blue state, the GOP is being outraised and outpolled in key races. The reality is familiar enough for the always underdogs. They haven't won a statewide contest in more than 20 years. But their woes are compounded now by President Trump's abysmal favorability, fundraiser, Elise Stefanik, exiting the race, and a dearth of competitive candidates. The state GOP faithful are kicking off their nominating convention, or they did on Monday. Nassau County is home to gubernatorial candidate Bruce Blakeman, who's lagging Democrat Governor Kathy Hochul nearly 2-1 in polling. The convention is also in the district of one of the country's most vulnerable House Democrats, Representative Laura Gillen, against whom, puzzlingly, Republicans have yet to put up a viable challenger. Why would that be? That race and several other New York swing districts will be crucial in determining control of the House and the fate of Trump's final 2 years in the White House. New York Republicans' misery is fueling Democratic elections. It's bleak, said Jay Jacobs, the state Democrat Party chair, who doubles as leader of the Nassau County Democrats. Right now, they're in a bad political environment with the polling numbers for President Trump, who Bruce Blakeman has tied himself to as tightly as you can. Glad that they interviewed the head of the Democrat Party for this article. Blakeman, the recently reelected Nassau County executive, is the rare Trump loyalist who has won where Democrat voters outnumber Republicans. But he's also a MAGA Republican running while public opinion shifts against Trump's shock and awe immigration tactics in blue cities. Tariffs and the future of Obamacare subsidies remain uncertain in Congress. The New York GOP hopes Blakeman can drive up the vote in suburban stretches around the state, but the map is looking less competitive for Republicans this cycle. Blakeman has chosen Fulton County Sheriff. Well, this has changed already. New York's beleaguered Republicans have had glimmers of hope over the year. 4 years ago, another Republican Long Islander, Lee Zeldin, came within 6 points of defeating Hochul. It's far too early to lose hope, they say. Quote, Election Day is 9 months away, and that's a lifetime in politics, said New York Republican State Committee spokesperson David Laska. A midterm election of a presidential year is always challenging for the party in power. Here in New York, we're in very unique circumstances because Democrats have had total control of Albany for 8 years now, and in that time, we've become the most taxed, most regulated, least free state in the country. So there's your piece. A little biased, as you can tell from Politico, but worth mentioning. Now, the New York Post editorial board said Bruce Blakeman, now the 2026 GOP candidate for governor, offers New York a refreshingly common sense agenda with real hope to reverse the state's long decline. The Nassau County executive is perfect contrast to Governor Hochul, a straight-shooting, practical leader who puts truth and principle ahead of political convenience. That's Hochul's central failing, of course. Even when she knows better, she gives in to progressives' pro-crime, anti-family, pro-tax, anti-business agenda. Her hapless, quote, climate agenda alone is a bane on affordability for residents and businesses alike. Her big idea for growing the economy is corporate welfare deals that require billions in subsidies and still may never pay off. The exodus from New York is accelerating on her watch. The state will likely lose 2 House seats in 2030 unless new leadership puts an end to the far-left policies she only tries to emulate. Blakeman is a staunch advocate for law and order. Under his stewardship, Nassau County was named the safest county in America by U.S. News and World Reports. He added 600 new law enforcement officers to patrol the county's neighborhoods and has enthusiastically partnered with ICE to remove criminal illegal aliens. Less than a decade ago, MS-13 was running wild in Nassau, waging a gang war and murdering teenagers who wouldn't join up. Yet Hochul is attacking Nassau's successful work with ICE with her proposed Local Cops, Local Crimes Act, which would ban local cooperation with federal immigration authorities. Despite state-level misrule, Nassau County is growing on Blakeman's watch. He has passed responsible budgets without hiking property or sales taxes and canceled $150 million in scheduled property tax increases. Hochul, by contrast, has extended taxes that were set to expire, not to mention the congestion tolls she so proudly imposed in the city. And more tax hikes and new fees are ahead now that she's bowing to Mayor Zohran Mamdani's socialist agenda. Even if she's likely to put off the worst until she's won re-election and no longer has to worry what the voters think. Blakeman is a tested politician who leads a large, diverse, and majority Democrat county, where he won twice, most recently last November, when he significantly improved his margin of victory. He has the depth of experience and downstate political sophistication needed to govern New York and the common sense principles to lead it in the right direction. The alternative, another 4 years of Kathy Hochul's split the difference declinism, is a guarantee of ever-growing misery. So that's the New York Post editorial board saying that Bruce Blakeman offers hope for real change in New York. Your thoughts? Oh, since we're talking state issues, and then we've got a couple other things about the midterm disasters that are losing the media, that are already being declared by the media. But before that, Assemblyman Phil Palmisano recently met with the Future Farmers of America and students with the Future Farmers of America to support agriculture and farming into the future. He met with Jenna Kuhl, Elaine Vaughn, Emery Serkin, Emma Mae White, and Ava Gage. Assemblyman Palmisano said, "I've said it before and I will say it again. No farms, no food. These young people represent the future of farming in New York, and it was my honor to meet with them and let them know that they have my total support. I will continue to fight to support our family farms in New York State." And also, since we're talking about the Assemblyman, and I wanted to mention this on the program, I don't think we got a chance to last week, but just to pass along this info to you, if I can find it here. Here we go. Assemblyman Phil Palmisano announced the 3rd annual Donate Life Art Contest. Submissions must be in by February the 26th, and winners will be notified by March 30th, as you see there. The Assemblyman saying, "Organ donation is a cause near and dear to my heart, so I'm always happy to help promote this important issue however I can. We have 8,000 New Yorkers waiting for organ donations, and we have the 3rd greatest need for organs, but the 6th worst enrollment rate. We can and must do better. I hope this art contest will help spread the word about the importance of organ donation. If you have already registered to become an organ donor, thank you. If you have not, please talk to your family and consider it, as you can help save the lives of your fellow New Yorkers. In fact, one person who donates at their time of death can save up to 8 lives and impact the lives of 75 others. To register to donate, visit your local Department of Motor Vehicles or visit the NYS Donate Life Registry website today." He also has, Palmisano has announced the 2026 scholarship from the New York Conference of Italian American State Legislators. The conference will be providing 4 $3,000 scholarships. The application deadline is March 16th. Applicants should have a grade point average of 85 or higher, be active in community service and extracurricular activities, and demonstrate financial need. In addition to these qualifications, students apply for an athletic scholarship must be involved in an organized sport. Applicants need not be of Italian American heritage to apply. Scholarship recipients will be announced in April, and the winners will be honored at a ceremony in Albany. The New York New York Conference of Italian American State Legislators is a bipartisan organization of state assembly and Senate members who actively promote and celebrate the state's Italian American community. So if you want to find out more about this, text me at any time and I can get you the website and all the information you need to sign up for either the Donate Life Art Contest or the scholarship, $3,000 scholarship. There we go. All right, we got to take a short break. We'll be reading your comments when we come back. I see some anger at Mayor Zohran Mamdani. We'll talk about that when we return. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this quick commercial break.
Month after month, year after year, even decades you've paid into the insurance system. You've done your part. But when you're seriously injured in a car accident or another tragedy, that system turns its back. Insurance companies care more about pumping up profits and stock prices than paying for your medical bills, your lost wages, or your recovery. At WYDC Injury Law, we fight to make them pay what's fair. If you've been hurt in New York or Pennsylvania, call 607-500-HURT. Don't let the insurance companies win.
Do you know that children growing up with poor air quality have smaller lungs and higher rates of asthma than children that grow up with good air quality? And unfortunately, poor communities have poor air quality. IQ Air Foundation is working to change this. Today, the IQ Air Foundation provides filtration technology to schools with poor air quality through our Clean Air for Kids program. Our goal is to help over 50,000 school children every year breathe over 90% cleaner air indoors, helping to level the playing field, reduce barriers to learning, reduce sick days, and increase test scores. Mitigating poor air quality is key to environmental justice. Help Clean Air for Kids reach more children at IQAirFoundation.org.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corrigan. A couple comments from viewers. Rick writes in, good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Rick. Well, Maxwell didn't talk. That's a shocker. The only shot she has at getting out is Trump, so she isn't going to bash him. Slow day for Donald. I only enjoy bashing Trump, just some bad bunny stuff. That's it. That's all I got so far. And check this out. These days you can bet on anything. There's a betting outfit that lets you bet on the chances of Trump leaving office early, either by resigning or the 25th Amendment being invoked. They're at a 40% chance of Trump leaving before the end of his term. 40%, is that great or what? Millions of dollars have been bet to date. Kind of puts a little more air in the Democrat balloon, up and away. And Donald, fork over the $16 billion for the New York-New Jersey tunnel. Judge says tisk tisk. Penn Station is still Penn Station and duels still duels. They need to stay running. If they name them Trump, no one would want to go there anymore anyway. That's the news really picked up later in the day. I feel great. Thanks, Rick. Coming from a different viewer, I think New York City, Buffalo, and the like vote Democrat primarily because many who reside in these cities are either deceptively or illegally getting free government assistance. Thank you very much. Now, Zohran Mamdani upset some of the residents of New York City, dissing millions of area Catholics as the first city mayor in nearly 100 years and possibly ever to skip the local archbishop's installation. Ronald Hicks, 58, on Friday became the 11th archbishop of the New York Archdiocese since 1850, accepting the reins of power from Cardinal Timothy Dolan at St. Patrick's Cathedral in a packed historic ceremony steeped in ritual. One of the event's traditions, dating back to at least 1939, when LaGuardia attended the installation of famous top clergyman Francis Spellman, had been the attendance of the Big Apple's sitting mayor every time, at least until this year when Mamdani decided he had better things to do than to help honor the new leader of the largest group of Catholics in the country, including hundreds of thousands of his own constituents. His honor, who on the past week put out a tweet marking World Hijab Day and suggested that the annual interfaith prayer breakfast at the U.S. could use the Prophet Muhammad's example on immigration, skipped out on the ceremony altogether, making the occasion with nothing more than a tepid post on X saying congratulations to Archbishop Ronald Hicks on today's installment and welcome to New York City. I know that Archbishop Hicks and I share a deep and abiding commitment to the dignity of every human being and look forward to working together to create a more just and compassionate city where every New Yorker can thrive. City Hall ignored several outreach attempts by the New York Post to find out why he was absent from the ceremony. After publication, a City Hall spokesperson said the two would be talking on Tuesday, and the Mamdani had a scheduling conflict, so instead sent one of his deputy mayors who was Catholic. When another reporter asked City Hall about the glaring misstep, a Mamdani representative replied, the mayor didn't go, but he tweeted about it. Mamdani has been in office for just over a month and already is signaling to Catholics that they are not welcome, said New York's Catholic League in a statement. The mayor of New York City traditionally attends the installation of the new Archbishop of New York, but Mamdani, who was invited, ghosted the event. The installation began a few hours after the interfaith breakfast at the New York Public Library. It is a short walk up Fifth Avenue to St. Patrick's Cathedral. He could have easily been there. Instead, he attended to business as usual. There you go. We got a couple other things we're going to get to as we get ready to wrap up today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
It's tax time, and Current Power Sports is here to help your refund go further. For the month of February, we're covering the sales tax on any new CF Moto machine purchase, plus select accessories. That means big savings on machines built to work hard, ride far, and handle anything you can throw at them. Why pay more than you have to? Let us cover the tax. Stop by Current Power Sports in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania, or Pine City, New York, and save big on your next CF Moto. Limitations apply. See store for details.
When a child is fighting a critical illness, one truth touches us all. Every child deserves a childhood. A wish sparks a ripple of hope that transforms communities far and wide. And when we grant wishes together, we create a movement of kindness, strength, and unity. Become a wish maker today and be part of a journey that truly changes lives.
Good morning, everyone. We do have a bit of an active pattern here as we have warm air advection and a clipper system all coming together to result in some opportunities of some wintry weather, perhaps with a combination of snow and rain at times. We are seeing that mixture happening, and then we'll get hit with the colder side of the system, which will give rise to some snow chances and gusty winds as well. So we're on the wilder side for now. However, as we go forward, we notice the cool
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio, Comment from viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. Thank you for the Valentine's surprise. Thank you, Mark Twain Chorus. Yes, they did a wonderful job. Thank you, the Mark Twain Chorus. Don't forget, you can still book your singing Valentines for either the 13th or 14th. Just go ahead and contact me, and I will get you all the information that you need to know. All these comments coming in right at the end. Thank you for the waves. Thank you for the comments. Oh, yes, I will send you that info about the Italian-American Scholarship. Yep, I'll send that to you right after the program ends. So be patient, and I'll get that right to you. All right. According to DNYUZ, Republicans secretly are fuming with Trump as midterm disasters loom. Republicans are secretly angry with President Trump because he sounds detached and non-committal ahead of a potential midterm election disaster, according to White House insiders who spoke to the Washington Post. Republicans hold an anxiety-inducing ultra-slim majority in the House. This, coupled with a lack of direction from Trump, his slumping approval rating, and signs of a Democratic rally in performance, has rankled some in the West Wing. The source said that this is not yet translated to public condemnation, but some on Trump's team are privately bristling The reported angst comes from the fact that Trump, 79, has a $300 million plus war chest, but has yet to approve a spending plan, nor has he endorsed GOP challengers in some key battleground states. Because of the latter, donors have had to bankroll expensive primaries in states like Texas and Georgia. When challenged, Trump can sound detached and non-committal, one insider said. He seems to not care. All right, whatever you say. Now, conservative columnists say Donald Trump has lost the country, according to Howard Kurtz. This is hardly a breaking news situation. It's not like some horrible new information has been unearthed in the last few days about the president. But it was Ross Douthat, the moderately conservative New York Times columnist, who, shall we say, a frequent critic of Donald Trump, said, "I want to tell you a secret. One of the most conservatives on the internet don't want you to know. A year into the second presidency, Donald Trump has lost the country. Is that true?" He's not just saying that the Democrats are going to crush the GOP in the midterms, the same way that the Seattle Seahawks annihilated the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. He plays clips of pundits analyzing the latest polls, such as Trump with an approval rating of 37%. But it is a rarefied view of the intelligentsia that doesn't reflect the silent majority. So what this is just more bias from the media. I would never rule out Trump's ability to bounce back, but the angst over ICE and the assault on citizens of this country may have left an indelible scar on his presidency, said Howard Kurtz. So there is a couple. Now they're questioning the legality of Trump's $400 million private funding of the White House ballroom. I guess the issue is they want taxpayers to fund it. A federal judge is expected to soon rule on whether President Donald Trump's planned $400 million White House ballroom project can proceed, zeroing in on whether the administration's plan to rely on private donations allows it to bypass congressional approval. Trump is one of those things where it seems like it's already done, right? It's already over, but the shouting. But I guess, of course, getting the judges involved. Justice Department lawyers also framed any pause as a potential national security risk and said they would immediately appeal if Judge Leon, grants a stay on the project. Leon said that regardless of how he rules, he expects the case to be appealed to the Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit and even the Supreme Court. Well, that does it for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Boy, that went quick. Look at all these waves coming right at the end. Mark writes in, so Mama Dami doesn't take care of New York City for winter-related problems and skips out on the Catholics. It's just beginning, New York City. Watch out. Yes, that's just the beginning of his mayoralship. Not in there for too long and already getting people angry at his style. But again, thank you to the Mark Twain Chorus for being our guest this morning. Again, you can sign up for that Singing Valentine to be delivered on February 13th or 14th. You get 2 songs, a lovely Valentine's flower, and a card for your sweetheart, just $45 each. You saw that number on the bottom of your screen, but if you missed it, you can always contact me and I'll get you in touch with the guys from the Singing Valentines and Mark Twain Chorus. On tomorrow's broadcast, we'll be talking with Hornell Mayor John Buckley. So if you have any questions for the mayor, please reach out at any time. That number on the bottom of the screen so we can ask the question of your mayor, Mayor John Buckley from Hornell. And then on Thursday, we're going to hear about the Great Backyard Bird Count. So we've got a busy week. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, starting at 6 a.m. for Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'll see you bright and early. I look forward to it already.
Whether it's our stories, more cars,
lower prices. Simmons Rockwell. Make car buying simple when you drive your deal at a Simmons Rockwell location near you, where you'll always find more cars at lower prices.